Hey friends, welcome back to Rita Talks. I'm Rita, and on this YouTube channel, I just share some of the thoughts, ideas that I've been thinking about, some of the things that have been happening in my life. In today's video, I can talk about my day and some of the inspiration that I've been feeling, and I don't know. I just feel like since I've been talking about, like, I've been trying to be a bit more open on this this channel, where basically I can maybe share a bit more details about what's going on in my head, especially over the past few days, where I've been a bit more transparent about my life and the things that I struggle with. And these are struggles that I really haven't discussed with anyone because they're somewhat embarrassing, and I know people will just take me for a crazy person. So I just, you know, they used to say in my head, and now I'm trying to be take them out of my head and, like, uh, I guess just talk about them out loud. In some sense, I mean, it's been super helpful in the sense that I've been feeling that I'm more present in my day-to-day life. I'm more in the moment. I'm more accepting of myself. I just feel more connected to myself. Honestly, it's like been feeling like today has I've just had a great day. Obviously, not as productive as I would have liked, but basically, like, a big portion of the day went towards meetings because we had some launches going on, and I was the second pair of eyes for some manual changes that we were making. So basically, I just needed to be in the meetings for most of the day. But I also got some machine learning done for my Gen AI project, and it's been fun. God, did I miss working on Python and machine learning and all of this stuff? Genuinely, it's like I love this so much. It's just so exciting to work on a Python project again. Like, it's been forever, and it feels great to be working on those topics again. And so, basically, I've just been feeling quite good. And also today I was listening to this really good podcast episode between, like, on the Tim Ferriss show, where he had Justin Gary, who's a game designer, and I think he wrote a book about design, but from the perspective, like, how to design. Let me pull it up. And it's a book, I think it's not very long, so I think I'm gonna be reading it as part of my 100 book challenge. Let's see. Come on. What is the name of the book? Think Like a Game Designer: The Step-by-Step Guide to Unlocking Your Creative Potential. And it's like only 3 hours and 26 minutes on Audible, which is great because I can do it in probably like an hour and a half at 2x speed, which is perfect. So great. This podcast episode is, like, genuinely so good. It's so funny, and I think there were a few things that really resonated with me. I think the first one is, like, basically Tim Ferriss was talking about, let's say someone was hypothetically trying to start a podcast, to basically just start doing some episodes, like 5 to 6 episodes before you publish your first one, just, to get your foot in the door and, like, not feel the pressure to publish the first episodes because they're usually gonna be bad. And that went immediately to thinking about my Who Made It podcast. So I just been thinking that I think probably that will be my focus for Q1 2024, where basically I will just have I'll have it as a 10x goal, just to get the podcast started along with some YouTube stuff. But for now, it's helpful to gather some ideas about this, and basically just getting mindset that it's okay, uh, like like not that it's okay, but that actually what it takes to start is to just start recording and start doing episodes, and basically not worry too much about the quality. And I've been thinking about maybe having a few co-hosts. So one that I think I've already spoken about on this channel, and another one with whom I've actually just become good friends. And I think this other co-host, like she's super cool, she's super energetic, and I think she's the kind of person, like she will be a good fit to co-host the podcast with me. So so yeah, I just got super excited about that. So stay tuned for my Q1 2023 2024 10x goal. This goal, like this quarter's goal, Q3. No, my brain is broken. It's like almost 2 a.m. and I need to go to sleep. But yeah, reminder, my Q4 2023 goal is to read enough books to reach the 100 books for this year, like threshold. I think I'm probably a bit behind, but usually with these kinds of goals, it's okay to start off slow, and then towards the end, like I really speed up, so I really go all in. So I'm not trying to force myself towards this. Like I've just finished my first book as part of this challenge yesterday. So anyway, at this point I've already read, I think, 35 books, like in 2023, and basically now I have 65 books to read if I'm gonna complete this challenge. So it's quite an exciting and scary challenge, but if it's not scary, then it's not gonna be exciting enough to push me to have like a transformative, I don't know, to take bold action towards it. So I think that's a good goal to strive towards. I'm excited to see how that will turn out, and I'm super excited to read all of the books that basically, like, I've had so many books on my to read list for ages, and this will be a good opportunity to get to some of the classic books that have been on my recommendations for like literally months on months. Like one of these books is Indestructible. Like every time I open my Audible app, I have like this Indestructible book that's shown up, and then I have this Think Again book by Adam Grant and Never Split the Difference. So all of these are classics in, I guess, in the, I don't know, non-fiction world, and so I think this will be a good push for me to get to them finally. So I'm excited about the possibility of basically just getting to these books and finally reading them, and like especially the classics, like those ones, and like there's also The Psychology of Money, which I haven't read. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting couple of months, and yeah, I'm excited to see how that turns out. So anyway, yeah, back to talking about the podcast on the Tim Ferriss show with Justin Gary. I think one thing that I found like super cool, and that I've noticed myself from meeting people who are a bit more senior than me, a bit or a lot more senior than me, is this thing that nobody knows what they're doing. Like even if you're senior, like there is this illusion of people more senior knowing more what they're doing than not. But if you focus on the first principles, like, and start evaluating things not from like whoever said something, but from the first principles of whichever question you're trying to address, you will find actually that like there is this illusion that people know what they're doing, but it's not the case. And basically, this is something that Justin Gary also found out when he was pitching to a bunch of the CFO, the CEO, and I don't know who that was, like chief something else of a company that he used to work at, and he was pitching to them. And at some point, like basically, he had studied something so deeply that he knew so well the intricate details of what was happening. And basically, when he was pitching to them, he realized at some point that they really didn't know what they were doing, and that was okay, because that's when he realized, and this was super powerful, and I took notes of it, that the difference between a leader and somebody else is that the leaders are willing to make assertions and own the consequences. And I think that's the biggest part, is that you make assertions and then you own the consequences. So basically, you take ownership of, like, you make commitments and you take ownership of those commitments, and basically your butt is on the line, but it's like always taking calculated risks. And basically that's something that I'm learning to do with my work, and that's definitely something that really resonated with me, and that I thought was super valuable, to share. Something else that also came up in this podcast is this quote from Neil Gaiman, which is that when your reader says something is wrong, they're almost always right. And when they say how to fix it, they're almost always wrong. So when someone, like I've been thinking about this a lot, like when receiving feedback, usually it's more helpful to basically focus on the what is wrong and what is missing, and then let the decision of how to address that problem like happen at a later stage, where basically the feedback that you get, like basically, so depending on who your customers are, like let's say for example I work a lot with accounting, and basically they're my customers, they're the ones that I just code on behalf of them. And so basically when it comes to some of the code that I make, accounting will definitely tell me what's wrong, but they're not the best they're not the best people to tell me how to address it from a code perspective, because that's my expertise as a software engineer. It's not their expertise as accountants. So basically that's something that's super helpful to know, and I think that's also something that leaders need to take into account, is that if they get feedback from their reports or from their teams will definitely be right about what's happening about the situation, but probably the team won't have the best solution to address the situation. So basically relying on the team to give you the solution is not always the best solution. I think it's your job as a leader to figure out what the right solution is. And I've been thinking about that a lot, because figuring out what the right solution is super hard, but it's something that you need to keep, like you need to have the willingness to keep iterating on, because you're never gonna get it right the first time, but you need some sort of North Star to guide you. And usually this North Star needs to be based on first principles, on truly understanding the problem, the key components that are at stake, the core assumptions that you're making, and always have those on top of mind when making any adjustments to the situation, and just basically be willing to iterate over and over again on key aspects of whatever situation that you're dealing with, just keeping that information, that how do you call it, that crucial essential information top of mind, like the assumptions that you're making, be willing to question them, and don't just make a decision and forget why you made it, but remember basically the factors that influenced your decision, because in the end, it's not the decision that's important, but the most important thing is the decision process. And when you know the decision process, the outcome of the outcome of that decision process, which turns out in the decision, is irrelevant, because the most important thing is the process, and basically being able to challenge assumptions at each step of the process. So I just thought that this also applied to maybe the role of some leaders, because I've seen that in my org. Maybe that's something like that. That's why I thought about it. Is like sometimes they really don't know. Like they know that there's a problem, but maybe they ask the wrong people for the solution. Like they ask I don't know, SDEs to come up with the solutions for leadership and organizational problems. I mean, I'm not saying that it's like SDEs will never come up with the right solution, because obviously, like the solution can come from anywhere. But I think maybe as a leader, the job is basically to pick, like, to be willing to take input from others, but still have your own reasoning. And with this reasoning, basically, you basically test your reasoning with input from others, and always be flexible in terms of like the outcome, and just basically be flexible in the right way, but still be driving the decision, like still be leading the conversation, but in an open way, not in a hard-headed kind of way, like tyrannical kind of way, like I'm doing this because I'm the leader and all of this stuff, because that's not leadership, that's tyranny in some, I mean, if taken to extremes, obviously, because sometimes, when sometimes sometimes the tyrannical approach works, but only in very limited situations. So whenever there is an urgency to whichever problem that you're trying to tackle, and you don't have time to walk through your decision-making process, I think that's one of the only times that it's okay to make decisions without explaining them. But I think most of the time, basically making decisions and basically explaining why you're making decisions is super important to getting the team aligned, because basically I think people resonate more with someone who tells them, okay, this is what we need to do, but we're not just doing this because I'm saying so, but because this is the right thing to do, and you can prove me, like, if you don't think that's the case, you can give me the data points to make me change my mind, and not just saying, oh, I'm doing this, like we're doing this because I said so and I'm the leader, and use hierarchy to resolve conflicts, like to basically take decisions, because over the short term that's very effective. That's why I guess I think it's only valid in urgent situations, but over the long term, it's not a good approach, because your people will start to feel this lack of autonomy. And from what the research shows, autonomy is super important to happiness and fulfillment in your work. So taking that component away is a big negative, like to the life of your team and the people that report to you and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not being extra specific. I'm also probably just rambling because I have no idea. I don't lead the team, but this is my knowledge so far from basically my experience as someone who's been led as an individual contributor and also combined with all of the books and podcasts that all of the books I've read and all of the podcasts that I've listened to. So yeah. And the last one from the podcast episode with Justin Gary is this quote, like not quote, but basically this advice that he's giving, which is basically to cultivate comfort with uncertainty and impermanence. And this is definitely something that I'm trying to apply in my life. I'm always trying to deal with uncertainty and learning how to deal with uncertainty in a way that that's helpful and productive. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about for today. Super grateful for this podcast episode, which was super fun to listen to and quite funny because there were some very funny snippets there. And yeah, it was just genuinely inspiring. I'm hoping to get to Justin Gary's book. The name is Think Like a Game Designer, the Step-by-Step Guide to Unlocking Your Creative Potential. So I think that's definitely something that's gonna help me. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about for today. Thanks a lot for tuning in. You can click here to watch my latest video on this channel, so the one right before this one, and you can click here to watch my previous video on this channel, and you can click here to watch my latest video on this channel overall. I hope you have a fantastic rest of day, night, whichever time of day it is where you are right now. Bye for now, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye bye!